Okay, in this first tutorial for this project, I'm going to attempt to show you how to read some construction plans. So hopefully you've received the email I sent with the zipped file for the highway construction plan. And if you'll unzip that, then you should have about 8 files within that folder. And they're named by sheet number. And so let's go ahead and open these up. Hopefully you've downloaded the TIFF file viewing software. I'm just going to click on this first one. And the first one shows the title sheet for the set of sheet sets. And of course I don't have all the pages. I just included the pages that are important to us, which is mostly just the plan and profile sheet. But on this first sheet you can see, I'm going to push plus to zoom in, and you can pan around with this software like you do in AutoCAD. But you can see that here's the beginning of pavement station, shows it here. It shows the sections that this is running through. This is Highway 9 in Stigler, Oklahoma. And the highway plans, the construction that this project is concerned with. And so if you'll move your cursor up to the top of the screen, then it'll drop down and every TIFF image in that folder is available here. So let's go to the next one, sheet 15. And again, I'm going to show you up at the top here. This is the plan and profile sheet, which we're going to get into profiles tomorrow or next project. But we're going to put in the alignment for this highway based off these construction plans. And I'm going to zoom in again and pan over to the beginning of it. And first I want you to notice that the north arrow is pointing this way. So they have arranged the highway on the page so that it would fit, and then they just adjusted which way was north. So be careful when you're looking at it, because as you go through the pages, that north arrow won't stay the same. They'll adjust it so that it looks good on the paper and then tell you which way north is. But right here, this is the beginning of the plan that we have. This is not the beginning of the project. The beginning of the project is right here. And this is a pavement overlay and widening project. But this is where the project beginning is, but it gives you some information prior to the beginning of the project. And this is telling us that there is an intersection of the section line here at this station, 33 plus 38.6. And generally you'll look here to find a tie to a section corner. That way you can find the section corner or establish the section corner and then measure the distance up to the center line of the project. It's not listed here, and for our purposes that's going to be okay, but as a surveyor you really need to tie it into sections. There's another page in the project plan that gives you coordinates, but you really need to be careful with that because a lot of times Oklahoma Department of Transportation uses their own coordinate system. It looks a lot like state plane coordinates, but it's not really. So you really need to be careful about using coordinates and using them to establish section corners or property boundaries. But like this is giving you a PI station. You might actually find a monument there. But anyways, that's surveying. We're just going to talk about alignment and getting that into AutoCAD. But here, this is our beginning station, and then it gives us the bearing and distance to the PC of the curve, and it lists that station number. And here's our curve, and then it gives you the PT station, point of tangency station, and the PI station. And then it also right here lists the curve data. And that L is the length of curve, delta is the degree of curve, r is the radius, t is the tangent length, CD is the chord bearing, LC is the long chord, length of chord, the long chord, and D sub A is the degree of curve arc definition. So we can have all this information to help us draw in that curve the way it's supposed to be drawn in. Also, one thing that you as a surveyor will be very concerned with is the right-of-way. And here it states that the right-of-way is 40 feet on each side of the center line. And it'll give distances here to property boundaries. So you might be doing a survey for a property that is along the highway, and so you might need to know some of this information, or you could be doing a survey for the highway. A lot of times in the business I work for, we do surveys for property owners, and we need to know the right-of-way and distance from the center of the road. And then also it shows here that there's a transition from the pavement width here. It's going to be wider, but that's more for construction purposes. What we're going to be concerned about in the class is we're going to draw in the center line and we're going to draw in the right-of-way. So those are the things that you need to be mostly concerned with. Here it gives us it labels the center line survey or center line construction. Sometimes there's two. Also note, I picked a very clean set of highway plans for you. Most of the time they are much more difficult to read, but this was done by an outside contractor. It wasn't the actual ODOT that did the plans, it was someone else, and they're very clean, they're very easy to read, and I picked them for that reason. If you look at ODOT plans, and especially older ones, it's just sometimes a mess trying to decipher what's really going on. So anyways, this is the center line, again, showing the right-of-way at 40 feet here. You can see the RW stands for the right-of-way. And then we have some construction items going on here. Again, we're not going to be that concerned with those items in this class. And then on the far right, you have a match line. So we're at the end of the sheet, and on the next sheet, they will start the rest of the highway on that sheet at the same station. So let's go to the next sheet, sheet 16. And, oh, sorry. Open that up again. And let's press plus to zoom in, and then we can pan. And you can see here's our north arrow, and here's our match line at station 48 plus not. And you can see here it's crossing the 1/16 section line. And our right-of-way is still at 40 feet. Center line road. And here's the bearing and distance continuing on for 4249.25 feet. So this is a long stretch straight highway, which is fine, and we'll be drawing that in. And then here's the next match line at 6,300 feet. Let's go to sheet 17, plus to zoom in. You hit plus again if you need to zoom in further. And here's our match line. Still have a right-of-way of 40 feet. And we're still on the same bearing and distance. So continuing on to match line at 7,800 feet. Okay, now we've finally gotten to something. 4249.25 is the feet, and then here we hit a circle, and down there it's telling us we have a PC, point of curve, at this station number, and you follow along that curve, and you can see here there's our curve data, so that will help us draw in that curve. And we've got the 1/16 section line here that we're crossing. And it gives us the station number for that crossing. And then here we have the PI is over here. So we don't have the PT yet. It's going to be on the next page. And notice here, well, where is it? There's our north arrow. Moving, it's kind of over here to the top and to the right of the page. Is where the north is pointing. And now look at the next set. Our north arrow changes quite a lot because it wanted to fit on the same page, or wanted to fit it appropriately on the page. So here's our match line from the previous page sheet. Gives you the curve data again, and here you can follow this until you hit the next circle, and that's the PT station. And that's the end of our curve. And we go along the center line, and you can see here that here is our new bearing and distance for the next stretch of straight road. And the right away is still 40 feet until you get to here, and you can see here where we at this section line here. It changes. The right-of-way on the north side of the highway is 55 feet, and on the south side it's 60 feet. At that section line is where it changes. And it gives you a PI station, point of intersection station of the section line, which is where our right-of-way changes. So that'll be important to us as well. So that's the basics of the construction plans. There's lots of other information on here, ownership and other construction information, roads, but we're not going to be concerned with that in this class. But I just want to direct you to the last two sheets on this page. And in the first sheet, I'm going to zoom in quite a bit. It actually does give you basic information for getting a project station number, and it gives you a northing and easting. So, and it gives you data from section corners of the section and distances and bearings between those. So just so you know, it is on this set of construction plans, but I don't normally see this in construction plans. This again is done because of it's done by outside contractor. It's not done by ODOT. ODOT does them usually directly on the plan and profile sheets. It just calls out a distance from the center line to the section corner. So I just wanted to show you that. We're not going to draw them from coordinates though, because like I said, it's pretty dangerous to do, especially when they look like state plane coordinates, and they may not necessarily be that. So hopefully that helps you get through the construction plans, and we'll try to follow those along as we draw them in the AutoCAD.